awareness and focusing. The first thing you need to understand is what awareness means. You are walking along. You are aware of many things, the shops, the people passing by, the traffic, everything. You are aware of many things, you are only unaware of one thing, and that thing is you. You are walking down the street, you are aware of many things, and you are only unaware of yourself. This awareness of oneself, 𝒘𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔𝒔 calls remembering oneself. 𝒘𝒂𝒓 says, constantly, wherever you are, remember yourself. Whatever you do, inside you must keep doing one thing continuously, being aware that you are doing it. If you are eating, be aware of yourself. If you are walking, be aware of yourself. If you are listening, if you are talking, be aware of yourself. When you are irritated, be aware that you are irritated. The very moment anger arises, be aware that you are irritated. This constant remembering of yourself creates a subtle energy in you, a very subtle energy. You begin to be a crystallized being. Normally, you are just a loose bag. There is no crystallization, there is no real center, just a liquid thing, just a loose combination of many things without any center. A changing multitude is constantly moving, without any boss. Consciousness is what makes you a boss, and when I say boss I don't mean a controller. When I say boss I mean a presence, a continuous presence. Whatever you do, and even if you do nothing, one thing must be constantly in your awareness, that you are. This simple sense of being yourself, that you are, creates a center of stillness, a center of silence, a center of inner mastery. It is an inner power. And when I say an inner power I mean that literally. That is why the Buddhas speak of the fire of consciousness. It is a fire. If you begin to become conscious, you begin to feel in yourself a new energy, a new fire, a new life. And because of this new life, new power, new energy, many things that were dominating you dissolve away. You don't have to fight with them anymore. You have to fight with your anger, with your greed, with your sex, because you are weak. Actually, greed, anger and sex are not the problems, the problem is weakness. As soon as you start becoming stronger inside, with a sense of inner presence, when you feel that you are, your energies are concentrated, crystallized into a single point and a self is born. Remember, not an ego, but a self. Ego is a false sense of self. Without having any self, you still believe that you have one, that is ego. Ego is a false self, you are not a self, but still it believes that you are a self. 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔𝒔, a seeker of truth, went to Buddha. Buddha asked him, "What are you seeking?" "I am seeking myself." "Help me," said 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔𝒔. Buddha asked him to promise to do whatever he is told. 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔 burst into tears and said, "How can I promise anything? Without soybeans? I am not yet, so how can I promise? I do not know what I am going to be tomorrow. I have no self to promise, so you are not asking me for the impossible. I will try. That is the most I can say, that I will try. But I cannot say that I will do whatever you tell me, because who will do that? What I am seeking is that which can promise and keep a promise. I am not yet." 𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔𝒔, said Buddha, "I have asked you for that in order to hear this. If you had promised, I would have rejected you. If you had said, I promise that I will do it, I would have known that you are not a true seeker of truth, because a seeker must know that he is not yet. Otherwise, what would be the point of seeking? If you are already, there is no need, you are not. And if one can feel that, the ego evaporates. The ego is a false concept of something that is not there. I means a center that can promise. This center is created by being continuously conscious, constantly conscious. Be aware that you are doing something, that you are sitting, that you are going to sleep, that sleep is coming to you, that you are falling. Try to be conscious at all times, and then you will begin to feel a center being born within you. Things have begun to crystallize, they are becoming centered. Everything is now related to a center. We are not centered. Sometimes we feel centered, but these are moments when a situation makes us conscious. If suddenly a very dangerous situation occurs, you will begin to feel a center within you, because when you are in danger you become conscious. If someone is going to kill you, at that moment you cannot think, at that moment you cannot remain unconscious. All your energy is centered, and that moment becomes solid. You can't move into the past, you can't move into the future, this particular moment becomes everything. And then you're not only aware of the murderer, but you become aware of yourself, the one who's going to be murdered. At that subtle moment you begin to feel a center within you. That is why dangerous sports have their appeal. Ask someone who has climbed to the top of 𝑨𝒘𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔, Mount Everest. When Hillary first went there, he must have suddenly felt a center. And when someone first went to the moon, he must have suddenly felt a sense of center. That is why danger has its appeal. You are driving a car, faster and faster, until the speed becomes dangerous. Then you cannot think, thoughts cease. Then you cannot dream. Then you cannot imagine. Then the present becomes solid. At that dangerous moment, when death is possible at every moment, you suddenly become aware of a center within you. Danger has its appeal only because in some dangerous situations you feel centered. Nietzsche said somewhere that war must go on because only in war does one sometimes feel the self, one feels a center because war is danger. And when death becomes a reality, life becomes intense. When death is near, life becomes intense and you are centered. At any moment, when you become aware of yourself, there is a centering, but if it is a situation that has caused it, it will disappear when the situation ceases. It should not be something situational, it should be internal. So try to be aware in every normal activity. Try it when you are sitting in your chair, be aware of the one who is sitting. Not just of the chair, not just of the room, of the atmosphere around you, be aware of the one who is sitting. Close your eyes and feel, go deeper and feel. 𝒂𝒃𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔 was learning from a Zen master. He spent 3 years learning archery, and the master always told him, well, what you do is well done, but it is not enough. 𝒂𝒃𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔 became a master archer. His aim became 100% perfect, and the master kept telling him, you do well, but it is not enough. With 100% perfect aim. 𝒂𝒃𝒂𝒓𝒆𝒏𝒆𝒔 said, but what do you expect from me? How can I improve further? With a 100% perfect aim, how can you expect more? The Zen master is said to have replied, I am not interested in your skill with the bow or your aim. I am interested in you. You have become a perfect technician. But when your arrow leaves the bow you are not conscious of yourself, so it is of no use. I am not interested in whether the arrow hits the target. I am interested in you. When the arrow leaves the bow, your consciousness must also be triggered within. Even if you miss the target, it would not matter, but you must not miss the inner target, and you are missing that. You have become a perfect technician, but you are an imitator. But for a Western mind, or rather for a modern mind, and the Western mind is the modern mind, it is very difficult to conceive of this.